Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to explore the incredibly fascinating biological hardware and software of your mind. Drawing on some genuinely mind-blowing insights from Vaidya, a top neuroscientist at the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, we are going to break down the most complex object in the known universe, your brain. We're going to uncover exactly how its physical makeup dictates your daily potential, your stress levels, and ultimately your success. Let's get right into it. All right, let's kick things off by busting a massive myth right off the bat. Did Albert Einstein have a bigger brain than average? I mean, we intuitively equate physical size with processing power, right? For decades, people were literally obsessed with Einstein's brain weight, just assuming a genius of his caliber must have had more mass inside his head. Well, the surprising reality? Einstein's brain was actually slightly smaller and lighter than the average adult male brain. So the short answer is simply no. Bigger brains absolutely do not equal higher intelligence. Neuroscientists have figured out that having a genius or billionaire brain isn't about physical size or pure weight at all. It's entirely about structural efficiency. Think of it like a highly optimized computer network. It's not about the sheer mass of the hardware. It's all about how tightly and efficiently those physical structures are wired together to process information. So here is our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll be looking at 1. Decoding the human brain. 2. Memory and high performance. 3. Rebuilding your willpower. 4. The science of anxiety. And 5. Addictions and the brain. It's a layered journey from your brain's physical hardware up to its operational software, and finally, into its hidden vulnerabilities. Section 1. Decoding the human brain. Understanding the hardware. To truly wrap our heads around what gives us our unique potential, let's look at how neuroscientists have analyzed the evolution of live, dead, and preserved brains. When you look at animal studies, you see wiring that is deeply, fundamentally driven by survival instincts. But the human brain? Wow, it has evolved way beyond just surviving. We are uniquely capable of vast, complex desires. We want to build, we want to connect, innovate, and dream. That huge biological leap from basic survival programming to complex desire is exactly what powers the modern human mind. The absolute crucial piece of this puzzle is understanding your gray matter. This is the physical tissue, the literal hardware of your brain, where all your critical processing, memory, and high performance are managed. And here is a fact that neuroscientists constantly emphasize. Absolutely no two brains are structurally identical. None. The exact folds and connections in your gray matter are entirely unique to you. It's quite literally a biological fingerprint. Section 2. Memory and high performance. Operating the software. Now that we've got a handle on the basic hardware layout, let's explore how the operating system actually runs. It's wild, but specific physical regions completely dictate our abilities. For instance, why do some folks just have superior memory capacity? Well, memory formation is highly localized, largely centered right in the hippocampus, which basically acts like a biological search engine for your brain. We see these same physical mechanics play out in muscle memory to automate complex tasks. By decoding these exact regions, science shows us the literal biological edge that helps top athletes clutch a win under immense pressure. It all comes down to how efficiently your brain's software retrieves data. Section 3. Rebuilding your willpower. System vulnerabilities. Let's see how this hardware setup translates into the operational challenges of modern life, specifically looking at our constantly fluctuating willpower. 25. Neuroscientists are tracking a really fascinating but difficult phenomenon around this specific age. Why do 25-year-olds today suddenly feel this massive loss of direction? It's not just some cliché quarter-life crisis. Biologically speaking, it's exactly when the prefrontal cortex finishes developing, exposing an underlying neurological pattern where your executive function is suddenly brutally tested by the real world. And here is the harsh reality. The modern environment has severely depleted the biological willpower of this generation. Understanding the biology explains exactly why people are struggling right now with an unprecedented lack of focus. Constant digital stimulation and those endless dopamine hits from our screens are effectively exhausting the brain's executive function hardware, leaving us feeling completely drained. But hey, you aren't helpless here. Science actually provides actionable physical therapy for your mind. It starts with simply absorbing natural morning light to properly set your circadian dopamine rhythms. Then you follow that up with structured digital detoxes to give those overloaded receptors a break. And the ultimate goal? actively rebuilding your brain's capacity to delay gratification. Think of it as basically putting your prefrontal cortex in the gym. Section 4. The Science of Anxiety. System Overload. Let's diagnose a major system vulnerability that can severely hinder your performance. We often think of anxiety as just this vague, floating emotion, but science pinpoints exactly what it is biologically, a physical response to chronic stress. Fascinatingly, this is very often deeply triggered by early family dynamics and social pressures. And here's the crazy part. It doesn't just stay in your head. It physically manifests in specific areas of your body first, like a tight gut or a heavy chest, way before your conscious mind even fully realizes what's happening to you. Which brings us to another critical breaking point, age 30. This cumulative physical and neurological toll explains exactly why so many driven, high performers inevitably face a biological breakdown in their 30s or 40s. You can only push an overloaded system so far before your gray matter simply cannot compensate for that chronic stress anymore. Section 5, Addictions in the Brain. Destructive shortcuts. Let's objectively examine the shortcuts we humans try to take to cope with this exact modern anxiety. When we impartially look at the data, the neurological impacts are staggering. Alcohol has a massively high impact. It literally damages your gray matter. But what's genuinely shocking is sugar. It spikes and depletes your brain's reward pathways in ways that are very, very similar to alcohol. Then we have drugs and psychedelics. Paradoxically, while they can sometimes stimulate rapid neural growth, using them involves immense, highly volatile risk. And this data presents a vital warning regarding psychedelics. Remember what we learned earlier about gray matter? No two brains are structurally identical. Taking a highly volatile substance simply because it worked for a friend is incredibly reckless. The unmonitored impact on your entirely unique, biologically distinct brain is completely unpredictable. But listen, instead of relying on these destructive shortcuts to deal with stress, neuroscientists have successfully mapped out the alternative, the biological reality of a genuinely happy brain. It's not a myth. By understanding neuroplasticity, by properly caring for our gray matter, protecting our willpower, and managing biological stress, we can actively wire ourselves for sustainable happiness and high performance. So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought. Based on the actual biology of your mind, what destructive shortcuts will you cut out today to build a truly happy brain? Think about the totally unique hardware you possess and start rewiring your potential today. Thanks for tuning in.